Good morning, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Bridget Betzer and I'm with FranNet. We're here to learn a little bit about how to fund your business in today's lending environment. As we get started here, just a couple of housekeeping items. All of your lines are muted today. However, we will have time for questions. We will not take questions live, but we would love to take your question when you submit it in the question box on your control panel. That is the best way. You can submit those questions as we go through the program, and once we conclude, we'll address as many as we can, time permitting. In addition to that, I wanted to let you know that our program is being recorded today and that all attendees, all registrants will be getting a recording of the program for future viewing, and that way you've got that handy in case you need to go back and take a look at something that we discussed during the program today. So I've got us right here at noon Eastern time. And again, I want to thank you for joining us today to talk a little bit about lending and what the environment looks like today and what your options might be as you explore business ownership. Again, my name is Bridget Betzer. I'm with FranNet. And for those of you who aren't familiar, FranNet is a 30-year-old international franchise consultancy firm. And we have a lot of history behind us and experience behind our consultants. We match individuals just like you to franchise opportunities to investigate that we think may be a very good fit for you. And one of the perks of working with a FranNet consultant is that your FranNet consultant is locally based. We have representatives in all major markets of the United States and Canada, and we have both national and even local partnerships with some great groups to help you in your entrepreneurial journey, groups like SCORE and the SBDC, and those folks, along with your resources through FranNet, will help you get the best start in your journey here. So again, my name is Bridget Betzer. I'm your host for today, and I am here in Michigan. And I was just mentioning to our speaker that it is getting chilly here. I think we've got a high of 66 here today, a low of 39. No snow yet, but gosh, it sure feels like it's coming. I've been with FranNet of Michigan for 10 years, went to Central Michigan University. I have a degree in biology. Crazy how what you think your life is going to look like ends up taking full circle. I grew up in business ownership and franchising. And after graduating college, ended up working for a small startup company that launched franchising efforts, worked with them to create and grow their franchising system in the non-medical home care world before joining FranNet 10 years ago. And so, you know, as you all join us here today, I'm sure you're thinking about business ownership, and whether you're looking to start a business from scratch, buy an existing business, or even buy a franchise, we have someone here with us today that can help you understand your options in financing and funding that business, and talk with us a little bit about what the lending environment looks like today. So I want to introduce to you one of FranNet's trusted partners in funding, Wendy Skemmer with Benetrends. Wendy, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Bridget, and thank you everybody for joining us on this fine Monday. I am with Benetrends now 9 years. It goes by so quickly. Prior to that, on the SBA side, Benetrends has been helping folks fund their businesses since 1983. And today we're going to talk about what's happening in the business lending environment. I do go through everything really quickly, so I do encourage you to speak with your FranNet representative and get with your sales consultants here at Benetrends to discuss your personal financial situation and how to help you become an entrepreneur. Benetrends appreciates working with FranNet, and Bridget, you're amazing to work with in helping you find that right funding opportunity to make these dreams of becoming an entrepreneur a reality. And just to get right into it, one of the things we always think about when we're looking to buy a house is to get a mortgage. And I think it's very much the same thing when we look to buy a business. We think about a small business loan. Here at Benetrends, even though we're a full service retirement planning company, we can help all of you find an SBA loan. We work as a broker in that role, have a lot of success in helping folks obtain SBA lending for their franchise purchase. Most of us, when we hear SBA loans, we think about the 7A program, or we've heard about the 7A program. Most loans do fall into that category. You might hear 504 if there's real estate involved. It is the most common way to fund your business. We're going to be talking about some more some other ways to fund your business outside of the box that are becoming more and more popular as we go on in the presentation. But I think it's always important to get the SBA conversation in every funding webinar that we do. Folks are surprised to hear that the SBA program does go up to $5 million, starts usually at about 25, 50,000. If you're looking for smaller amounts, there are fewer lenders. The larger amounts, there's more lenders for us to work with. However, we do have some great, strong partners in the 150 and under program. One thing a lot of you might be thinking about is multi-unit or multi-territory. Benetrends is very well versed in helping folks achieve that goal. A lot of times, part of that goal, part of achieving that goal is taking into account an SBA loan as well. So more than happy to help you on that journey. What is the interest rate going to be? The most popular question I get. And right now it's 2 3/4 over prime is the most that SBA lender can charge you. So prime is at 3 1/4. So the highest rate you will see on an SBA loan is 6%. The next most popular question is, well, what is the requirement for my credit score? Currently, the credit box for SBA lenders is 700. If you're at 680 or better and you're hovering around there, we can talk about, what lenders would be willing. But really, the best marker, I think, in today's environment is that 700 credit score. No bankruptcy, foreclosure, or short sale for the past 10 years. It's really important. Sometimes our credit scores have recovered, but if you have that, the SBA lender is definitely going to kick it out before it's dismissed for 10 years. Usually you'll have to put down 20 to 30% down. Some of these smaller projects, I can get it down to between 11 and 15%. These are some of the things we can talk about on your one-on-one consultation that I highly recommend. Usually an SBA loan will require personal collateral. A lot of times folks in the 150 and under program think that or come with the assumption that they might not need personal collateral. And I want you to keep in mind, sometimes you might not have to if it's purely for working capital. But usually the bank's going to turn around and say first lien on all business assets. And if there's still exposure, they will want to attach it to real estate if that's an option. I've had banks collateralize marketable securities or money in a CD, but we will definitely have that conversation with you way before you get to a lender to make sure you're prepared and comfortable with what that requirement will be. Every lender is going to eventually want to see a resume and a written business plan. We do provide the infrastructure. So when you work with Benetrends, we open up our share file. All the traditional SBA forms will be in there to make it easy for you. You'll upload your tax returns. There'll also always be a business plan template for you to work with. I do have resources. A lot of us are really busy and time is of the essence to get these business plans done. So we always have resources if you need somebody to help you get that done. I mentioned multi-unit, multi-territory, definitely comes into play in this next bullet point. The best path to success is the combination of funding. And a lot of us don't realize that we are able to do this. So the rollover, which we will talk about in a moment, and the SBA loan married together is a great combination, whether it's 1 unit, 3 units, 10 units. One, because we want to preserve your post-tax cash, but also because that rollover is considered cash. Why not have the government subsidize part of that risk when we're going for an SBA loan and we need that 20 to 30% down? Or in some cases, you might put down more to reduce your debt service. Okay, here at Benetrends, what we do that I think is extremely helpful is a free pre-qualification. There's no obligation. And what I think is most important is we don't pull your credit. So you won't have a hard inquiry to your credit so early in the process. I do equate it to getting pre-qualified for a mortgage in the sense that it really helps your mortgage broker, your real estate agent help you find that right neighborhood to shop in and make sure that you're not overshooting or in some cases undershooting what you could potentially afford. I feel like this pre-qualification does help your FranNet consultant figure out which is the best match for you in a business and helps you start thinking about what are the payments going to be in the terms for you to get comfortable without even doing an inquiry to your credit or any obligation. It's a really smart step in the process. So what happens is once you're pre-qualified, if you want to move forward, Benetrends helps you package the loan. And that means that we'll go through loan guidance, packaging, making sure your business plan is in place. And then we go and make proposals to banks. The idea is to come back with several term sheets for you to compare, depending on the brand, depending on the strength of your individual financials, and depending on which bank. It could determine whether, and the size of the loan, whether I get 4 or 5 term sheets for you, or I feel like it's a project that I might only get 1 or 2 interested lenders. Of course, we still want to have that competitive term sheet for us to help you navigate through to pick that right lender. Changes or challenges in today's environment that weren't there prior to maybe COVID, some of the things lenders are talking about more than ever is that post-closing liquidity. It was always a requirement to make sure that the candidate didn't deplete all of their post-tax savings. So in other words, after you put down your 20 to 30%, it was always taken into consideration that you didn't then have zero liquidity in your savings account or in your marketable investments or securities. But now more than ever, those lenders want to see that you have more of like 12 months of living expenses, where prior maybe 6 months satisfied that. So we're wanting to see anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 on average in post-closing liquidity. The ROBS program helps make that happen in the sense that you can leave your cash and use your retirement funds for your down payment. Some of the challenges have always been the timing of when do I sign the franchise agreement? What if I'm looking at a lease and I need to sign on the SBA loan? Benetrends is well versed in that timeline. Everybody's situation is unique, whether you're brick and mortar or not. Benetrends will help you navigate through that in conjunction with the brand that you're buying. We're very well versed when it comes to the timing. Our protection is always going to be, how do we protect you as the client and make sure that your skin in the game is protected and things are happening timely. We also don't want you to lose a territory or an opportunity because you're waiting for the loan. So we're very proactive. Folks will ask me often, if I left my job and I'm unemployed, can I still get an SBA loan? I know folks are calling and telling me that they've gone for home equity, but if there's somebody not working in their household and they don't have proof of income, they're unable to get home equity today. That is not the same case when it comes to an SBA loan. If you're not working or there's no income coming into your household, that doesn't necessarily mean I can't get you an SBA loan. It will come into effect. That's when we're looking at your post-closing liquidity. If you don't have post-closing liquidity and there's not money coming in, well, sure, that's going to have an impact. But if there's been preparation, maybe a severance package, expenses are getting covered and there's still that post-closing liquidity, I could very well make that happen. Communication and expectation, whenever a bank is involved, is usually challenging. And Benetrends recognizes this. We've been doing this for so long. Although we have really strong relationships with the banks, we still have the arduous process of making sure we get that communication and expectation realistically set for you as the client. What I always tell folks is when you nudge the bank, you're one client that's working with them, and I know that's important to them, but when Benetrends goes and starts nudging our lenders, we usually have anywhere from 6 to 12 candidates sitting with that lender, so it gives us a little more nudging power, so to say. Our goal is to make sure that we get these communication expectations to you, to the brand, and to your consultant in a timely manner. When it comes to SBA loans, I know we're all well versed in the franchise community on what an SBA loan is and getting through that process. We're more than happy here at Benetrends to help you with it. But boy, we get really excited to share with you this rollover for business startup. This is what's called the ROBS, the acronym the ROBS. You'll hear it referred to here at Benetrends as the Rainmaker. It's one of the more popular funding strategies, of course, next to getting an SBA loan, to purchase a new business, an existing business. It doesn't actually have to even be a franchise. Many of the franchises sold in the United States have used the rollover, and I promise, as you're out and about, if you haven't heard about it yet, this will definitely come up in conversation. I've been out in my local community, whether it's at a new dog grooming franchise or dog training. I had one at a webinar, at a wine tasting event that I went to. And all of these folks had utilized retirement funds to help them start their business. You'd be surprised how comfortable folks are with talking about it and how more common it's becoming as a tool to open up your business. And I mentioned it can absolutely be used in conjunction with an SBA loan. It's non-borrowed funds. It was created by the founder and owner currently of Benetrends, Len Fisher. He is the ERISA architect behind the program. I do want to mention real quick, he is the author, the best-selling author, I might add, of a book called Make It Rain, a great tool for any entrepreneur starting their business. Again, that's Len Fisher, the founder of Benetrends. And the reason why this program became what it is because Len was working with so many of his clients that were leaving their job, some to no choice of their own, and their largest asset sat in their old 401k or profit sharing plan. And he wanted to help them figure out a way to utilize those funds to open up a business. And folks were saying they were going to pull money out. Back in the 80s, Len said, absolutely not. Studied that ERISA code and statutory law, and the ROBS became what it is today. And tens of thousands of folks are utilizing this program. And here's a typical candidate that I talk to on a daily basis, a C-level executive leaving their job, looking at their retirement plan, and they have $200,000 in their plan. And maybe they met Bridget at an event as they're leaving their employer, and they love the idea of buying a franchise, and they think, oh, I can just pull out my money from my 401k, we're good to go. Well, if that individual is under 59 and a half, a typical situation is that someone's going to pull out that money right when they leave their job, and they're going to end up paying, in some cases, 30% in taxes, whatever your tax bracket is in that year. And of course, if you're under 59 and a half, you're paying your 10% penalty. So if you have just left your job and you were looking at buying a business for close to 200,000, thinking I can just use my retirement plan to source this business venture, boy, now all of a sudden you really only have 120,000. That could be the difference of multi-unit, multi-territory, or buying the brand you really, really wanted, but you weren't able to afford it now. With this program, you would be able to utilize that entire $200,000. What most of us don't realize is that you did a rollover already at some point in your career. So have you ever rolled retirement funds from one employer to another? I used to work for Corporate Gap. When I left the Gap, I took my 401k and I rolled it into Electronic Arts. I was so excited to be in a high-tech company. And of course, it was tax-deferred, penalty-free. Most of us, when we got to that new company, like myself, so excited about the current company we're working for, we want to take some of those retirement funds and purchase stock in our company. And that's exactly what I did. I moved some of my retirement funds within my 401k and bought stock in Electronic Arts. What I didn't think about was that the proceeds of that sale of stock went to Electronic Arts for whatever they needed. So if you think about it, most of us at some point or another have done that rollover and bought stock in our current company. Well, what if the stock you bought was in your C corporation? So in other words, we created your franchise corporate entity as a C corporation, and we customized a qualified retirement plan for your company to sponsor. So just like when I went to Electronic Arts, they had a 401k, and I came from a company that had a 401k. We're going to create you the same exact way, but with a plan that makes better sense for you. So as an employee of your new company, you can do the same thing here. You can take those retirement funds that are no longer tied to your current employer, and you can roll them tax-deferred, penalty-free into your new qualified retirement plan, just like most of us have done in the past. The magic is, for those original rollover dollars, one of your investment options is going to be the privately held stock in your franchise. So what happens is your corporate bank account will have the proceeds from the sale of that stock. So in that previous example, if you rolled over $200,000 into this new company sponsored plan and you bought stock in your company for the full amount, you would literally in your corporate bank account have the full $200,000 for all of your business needs. Now, for a lot of folks right there, that's exciting enough, because I know that I owe 30 to 40% of that money to the government today. The ability to utilize those funds to build my business and bear the risk is an advantage that I certainly want to take advantage of. Of course, the ability to use this as a cash injection in an SBA loan, I probably said it nauseum, but that is one of the benefits for sure. Of course, having equity in your business. I always joke around and say, if you're a Shark Tank fan, your retirement plan can be a shark and literally have an equity stake in your business. I have many clients that buy their entire business with retirement funds, and therefore they didn't have to take out any debt or post-tax cash to achieve that goal. And then I have folks who use a combination of retirement funds, home equity, SBA loans, and a plethora of options to help fund that business. Of course, when you're looking at what other benefits are there, I don't only want to focus on getting in the business. I want you to keep in mind, when you become a partner with Benetrends on this venture, you just became a partner of somebody who's going to help you mitigate taxation for the life of your business and when you're ready to sell your business. So part of our services here at Benetrends, of course, is to keep you compliant through the entire life of your business, and then help you when it comes time to selling that business to make sure you're utilizing this program, working with your tax professional and Benetrends to minimize your tax obligation when we sell the business. Hopefully eliminate that. Well, you're probably asking, is my plan eligible? And the best way to think of it is, if it's a company-sponsored plan, as long as you have severed your W-2 relationship with that employer, then it becomes eligible. If it is an IRA, the only IRAs that are not eligible is a Roth IRA or an inherited IRA from somebody other than a spouse. So the best way to think of it, I believe, is what is not qualified. Most of your plans will qualify. If it's a TSP because you've been in the service, thank you for your service. As soon as you're out of the service, those funds are eligible. We have a lot of teachers who have left their job who can use their retirement from their TIA craft. More than happy to always look at what plan you have and see if it is eligible. We talked about the combination of a rollover with an SBA loan. One, of course, as I mentioned, you can use it for your 20 to 30% cash injection. I do have some folks who use it for working capital, or maybe to achieve that goal that we talked about, multi-unit, multi-territory. What's nice about the rollover, it's not just one and done. You can always roll more money over later. So I have many clients that are doing 3-packs or 5-packs. They're rolling over money, getting an SBA loan, maybe for their first unit to get things started. And then as time goes on, they'll be rolling over more money to achieve the multi-unit or multi-territory goal. Here at Benetrends, our goal is to help you fund your business in the smartest way possible. Sometimes that might mean a source outside of Benetrends. What does that mean? So I have a lot of folks right now who have built some serious equity in their primary residence. Housing prices are going up. Interest rates on home equity are pretty low historically. So home equity is a way that folks are getting additional funds in conjunction with a rollover, is really popular right now. My goal, and anybody here who works with you at Benetrends, our goal is to walk you through all of the options so that you can sit down with us and figure out which is the most economically sound option for you. Hopefully it's Benetrends, but if not, we want to make sure you have all the information you need to do it successfully. And other ways besides home equity, a portfolio loan. Just like home equity, if you replace your home with your current investment portfolio, where you have that money, you can usually borrow 80% of the value of that portfolio. I've heard rates as low as 1.95%. I've never seen them over 5%. There's no term. It's use as you go. It's not considered borrowed funds. So it can be used as your cash injection in an SBA loan. It's actually genius. I encourage you, if you have that ability, to see if it's available where you hold those instruments. And lastly, many of us are still working, or we have a spouse who's still working and still has their 401k at their current employer. Most 401ks will give you the option to have a participation loan where you could borrow 50% of the plan balance up to $50,000. That can be used in conjunction with an SBA loan. It can be used in conjunction with a rollover of different funds. But also I want to mention, I'm being very conscious of time. I have 1 minute. I want to mention, when you do a rollover with Benetrends, you will also have the ability to do a participation loan. It's very popular for my clients to do the rollover and then potentially take up to that $50,000 as well in a participation loan to help them bridge the gap if they've left their job as they're getting their new business up and running. More than happy to speak more with you about all of these different opportunities on a one-on-one call. I do want to give the last 5 minutes for any questions we have, so I will pass the baton over to Bridget, and I thank you for listening to me today.
Wendy, thank you so much. A lot of great information in a very short amount of time. I know you just skimmed the top of the iceberg when it comes to this discussion. And so, Wendy, I'm putting your contact information here on the screen now, and I would encourage those attending today to contact Wendy directly for further conversation, or quite honestly, another good resource to start with, to start having some of these discussions, would be your local FranNet consultant. And you can find your local FranNet consultant by visiting our website. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now, and that will take you to our website where you can find your FranNet consultant. Or if you're curious about what franchising might have to offer you, you can also take our free entrepreneur readiness profile that will help you understand what you might look like as a business owner and help you understand if franchising might even be a good fit for you compared to other entrepreneurship options. And your local FranNet consultant will review those assessment results with you one-on-one as well. So again, Wendy, thank you so much for joining us today. For those of you attending, now would be a great time to put your questions in the question box. We have just a few minutes left where we can answer a handful of questions. I currently don't see any questions in the question box, but Wendy will give it just another moment here. So again, thanks for joining us today. As you go through your entrepreneurship journey, Wendy, I think you'll agree, a lot of folks believe that they need to figure out what their business is that they're going to invest in, what that looks like before exploring funding options. Wouldn't you agree, Wendy, that the funding journey should start as you even start considering or thinking about business ownership without even having that opportunity completely identified and nailed down?
Absolutely, 1,000%. I've seen it happen so many times where folks end up going to discovery day unprepared, and it's never working in their favor. There's no obligation, there's no cost. It just absolutely should be part of the process, in my opinion. And it's good for 3 months. If anything changes, it can be updated. And again, if they end up not moving forward, nothing ventured, nothing gained, but surely is a great tool in realizing, what's the most appropriate investment size for them, for sure.
Wonderful. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. So many times I myself work with folks who have started to explore an entrepreneurship opportunity, and they put all this time and effort into the research and preparation, and they get to the funding side of things, and they may not qualify, unfortunately, for the investment level that they're exploring. So working with your FranNet consultant and a Benetrends representative will help save you time in that manner as well. So I still don't see any questions in the question box, and I'm kind of surprised by that. We have a quiet group here today. I usually have a handful of questions to tend to, but it looks like we are going to go ahead and wrap our program up for the day. And Wendy, again, thank you so much for taking the time and taking us through this detail on funding your business.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. And I look forward to helping folks if they want to reach out to their FranNet consultants and set up their calls here. We're more than happy to help out.
Awesome. We know you are, Wendy. Thank you so much for being a trusted advisor here with us at FranNet. Everybody, enjoy your day. Thank you so much for joining us on this Monday. I'm sure you found that the information here is going to be a true resource for you as you explore your journey. Thanks again. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.